Now, if you've seen our previous reviews of the 5th gen W206 Mercedes-Benz C-Class, you will know that it does quite a convincing job of living up to its baby S moniker. So how is the C200 like, which happens to be a good 6 lakhs less than the C300D we drove the last time around? In terms of the way the Mercedes-Benz C200 looks, this Avantgarde trim carries some differences. There is a more traditional Mercedes grille with a large star and the single chrome band, and a simple bumper design. You miss out on the digital LED beams from the C300D, and you also get 17-inch wheels, which don't look as aggressive as the 18-inch ones on the C300D, but must help with the ride. Either way, the new C-Class looks large and stately on the move, as you would want it to. Now the C200 is available in this Avantgarde trim, which gives you this grey and beige interior color scheme. But that hasn't taken away anything at all from how special the C-Class feels inside. Where here you get this open pore wood with these aluminium inlays which feel genuinely nice to touch. And then of course the general layout is very neo-modern in the way it looks. You have these vibrant large screens, that crisp ambient lighting, and these hefty vents. Now there aren't too many buttons of course, but whatever is there, like the start switch and these buttons, feel quite nice and solid to hold. And then you have these door handles which feel very minimalistic and very modern in the way they're designed. Now you know that this generation of the C-Class continues on a reworked version of the last one's rear-wheel drive architecture, and that has added to the interior space. So you have about 21 mm more of rear leg room, and shoulder room as well as headroom has gone up. And then you have those nice touches like these sunshades and this large, cup holder with these quite intricate cup holders which are always a Mercedes staple. And coming to the seats themselves, they're nice and supportive, and the base sort of interior theme of the Avantgarde variant makes use of this added space quite well, and you have this expansive sunroof which obviously helps. But we would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit more underside support. It's still not up to the best in this segment, and weirdly there are no rear charge ports anywhere. It's just a shelf here for you to maybe keep some knickknacks. There is an unending list of technological trickery, like the more intuitive MBUX voice assistant,
Hey Mercedes.
How may I help you?
a feature that adjusts your seat as per your height, and a stunning ambient light setup, and the vast two-part sunroof. The C-Class will even communicate with other similarly equipped Mercedes to bring you updates on traffic, obstructions, etc. You only miss the Burmester 3D sound system from the C300D, replaced by a lesser Burmester unit. Some notable misses are 3-zone climate control and ventilated seats. Now the C200 is powered by a small 1.5 litre turbo petrol, which is quite some bit less than the 2 litre petrols that you usually see in the segment, although it makes a similarly healthy 204 PS and 300 Newton meters. And you wouldn't know that this engine is so heavily boosted for the most part, except for maybe when you're crawling in traffic and the engine is usually sitting between 1 and 2000 RPM, where it hasn't quite spooled up, so progress is a bit hesitant, not quite smooth. And for some reason the electrical assistance, the added 21 PS and up to 200 Newton meters that you get, usually comes say post about 2000 RPM. And the gearbox will always keep you say below 2000 in the city to save fuel, obviously in the eco and the comfort modes. So which means that when you start moving say on an open road, progress is quite steady and brisk. There's a clean wide power band helped by the electrical assistance, which means that you can make progress pretty much throughout the rev band anywhere. And we also think that Mercedes has reworked the 9-speed automatic, the torque converter, for this new generation of cars. It feels just that touch more alert, so kickdowns feel slightly more quick, and the gearbox just generally feels quite alert, and it's always shuffling around in the background doing its thing, so that progress for you is quite straightforward. And Mercedes says that an increasing number of C-Class owners now drive their cars. So it's not surprising that when you switch to the sport mode, the C-Class changes character quite a bit. It's now a much more aggressive car to drive. The engine is always boosted now, the gearbox makes sure of that. And you have these paddle shifters, so you can take control and really hustle the car along. There's quite a strong mid-range, punch. So you can really get a move on a tight, twisty road such as this. Our in-gear acceleration times suggest the C200 doesn't lose too much ground to its larger engine competition in the way it can pick up speed for overtakes and such maneuvers. We were some way off the claimed 7.3 second 0 to 100 kmph time, however, only managing 8 seconds. The traction control significantly limits power on hard launches and can't be fully switched off. But either way, this is something that shouldn't affect real-world performance. Now in terms of the way the C-Class rides and handles, of course it's a Mercedes, so it's a generally calm, soothing place when you're on the move. And even low-speed bumps, which were earlier quite jarring in the old car, they're not that jarring anymore. The new car rounds them off quite well, so even these typical sharp imperfections that you find all across our road, they aren't that uncomfortable anymore. And then of course once you've built up momentum and you're going faster, the road completely smooths out, it absorbs pretty much everything on its path very well. But a new dimension to the C-Class is the way it handles. The earlier car was never going to set, an enthusiast heart racing, but the new one, is competent in that regard. It's quite smooth, it's quite neutral in the way it goes around a tight, winding road, and there's a bit of excitement to be had, which is great to see. Of course, the C-Class now appeals to a younger audience, which is why it's probably been done. And that genuinely, enhances the driving experience quite a bit, where you have that, that sense of engagement to the whole, driving experience. As for efficiency, again, the small displacement hasn't brought with it any disadvantages. Mercedes says efficiency has gone up by 29%, and we managed a good 9 kmpl in the city and 13.5 on the highway. Safety kit includes the active braking function, best left in its late reaction setting for India, air airbags and auto parking. There are front parking sensors, but we also would have liked a 360-degree camera and some form of ADAS given the C's premium pricing. Even in the C200, guys, the new C-Class makes a convincing case for it as a small luxury sedan. Sure, it could do with slightly better low-speed responses and a few more useful features. But given the comfort, the ambience and its general demeanor on the move, the slight premium it charges over rivals seems justified.